Being happy alone is not about isolation or rejecting others. It's about discovering peace and fulfillment within yourself. In a world that constantly tells you happiness comes from relationships, success, or approval, learning to be happy alone becomes a quiet act of strength. It begins when you stop seeking validation from others and start understanding that everything you need to feel whole already exists inside you. Being alone gives you the chance to listen to your thoughts, face your fears, and reconnect with your authentic self without distraction or judgment. When you stop running from silence, you start hearing the voice of your own soul, the one that often gets lost in the noise of the world. Many people associate being alone with loneliness, but they are very different experiences. Loneliness is the absence of connection, while being alone can be the presence of deep connection with yourself. When you're comfortable in your own company, you start to enjoy simple things: a morning walk, your favorite song, a quiet meal, or a peaceful evening of reflection. These small moments become powerful because they remind you that joy doesn't always need company. Sometimes it blooms best in stillness. Solitude becomes your space for healing and growth, where you can explore who you are without the pressure to perform or please anyone else. To be happy alone, you must first let go of the fear of being by yourself. Many people try to fill their emptiness with others, with constant noise or with endless distractions. But that fear disappears when you realize that solitude is not a punishment. It's an opportunity. It allows you to understand your emotions, your dreams, and your purpose. When you learn to sit with your own company without feeling the need to escape, you begin to find balance. You learn to enjoy your independence, your thoughts, and your routines. You become your own best friend. It's not about cutting off relationships. It's about not depending on them for your sense of worth or happiness. In solitude, self-love grows. You begin to appreciate your flaws and strengths without comparison. You stop measuring your life by what others are doing or achieving. Instead, you focus on your own path and celebrate your progress, no matter how small. You start treating yourself with kindness, cooking your favorite meal, reading a good book, taking care of your body and mind. You become more aware of what truly makes you happy rather than what society tells you should make you happy. This awareness gives you emotional freedom because your peace is no longer controlled by anyone else's actions or opinion. When you're happy alone, you attract healthier connections because you are not seeking someone to fill a void. You are sharing your wholeness. You start building relationships out of love, not out of need. You don't cling to others out of fear of being alone. Instead, you enjoy people's presence without losing yourself. That's when happiness becomes more stable, not something that rises and falls based on who stays or leaves, but something that flows naturally from within you. Being happy alone doesn't mean you'll never feel lonely again. It means you know how to return to peace even when loneliness visits. Self-acceptance is the foundation of happiness when you are alone because it allows you to feel complete without needing others to constantly affirm your worth. When you truly accept yourself, you stop fighting against who you are and start embracing every part of your being. This means understanding that you are not defined by your past mistakes, your physical appearance, or the opinions of others. Instead, you begin to see yourself as a whole human being who is worthy of love and respect simply for existing. Many people struggle with being alone because they have not yet learned to be at peace with themselves. They seek distraction, validation, or company to avoid facing their inner thoughts. But when you practice self-acceptance, being alone no longer feels like loneliness. It becomes a space of comfort and self-discovery. Accepting yourself is not about pretending to be perfect. It is about acknowledging your imperfections and realizing they are part of what makes you unique. When you stop chasing unrealistic standards or comparing yourself to others, you start to appreciate the person you already are. You understand that happiness doesn't come from becoming someone else. It comes from being authentic. This acceptance allows you to relax into your own presence and find peace even in solitude. You no longer feel the constant need to impress others or seek approval. You start to feel safe within yourself, knowing that you are enough. This inner confidence becomes the foundation on which happiness can grow naturally. When you develop self-acceptance, you also become more compassionate toward yourself. Instead of judging your emotions or failures harshly, you treat yourself with kindness. You learn to forgive yourself for past choices and see every experience as part of your growth. This attitude transforms how you experience solitude because your inner voice becomes gentle and supportive rather than critical or fearful. You start enjoying your own company because it feels nurturing rather than uncomfortable. You begin to understand that the relationship you have with yourself sets the tone for every other relationship in your life. If you can love and accept yourself, you will no longer need others to fill an emotional gap. You will simply appreciate their presence while being secure on your own. Self-acceptance also frees you from external pressure. Society constantly tells you who you should be, how you should look, and what you should achieve to be happy. When you accept yourself, you stop trying to live up to these expectations. You stop seeking happiness in things outside of you and start realizing that peace already exists within. This awareness brings emotional stability because your happiness is no longer tied to changing circumstances or people's opinions. You start making decisions based on what feels right for you, not on what others expect. This independence brings a deep sense of empowerment and fulfillment that can only come from self-acceptance. Being alone becomes easier and even enjoyable when you feel comfortable in your own skin. You begin to find beauty in moments of quiet reflection, in doing things that make you happy without needing to share them for validation. Whether you are reading, walking, or simply sitting in silence, you feel at home within yourself. This kind of peace is powerful because it means you can handle life's ups and downs without constantly needing someone to reassure you. You know your value and you trust yourself to face whatever comes your way. Solitude is often misunderstood as loneliness, but in truth, it is one of the most valuable experiences a person can have. When you start to see solitude as an opportunity rather than a punishment, everything about being alone changes. It becomes a sacred space where you can slow down, breathe, and listen to yourself in a way that is almost impossible in the constant noise of daily life. Many people fear being alone because they associate it with emptiness or rejection, but solitude is not about being cut off from the world. It is about reconnecting with yourself. It allows you to reflect deeply, recharge emotionally, and rediscover what truly matters to you. When you are constantly surrounded by others, it is easy to absorb their thoughts, moods, and expectations. Over time, you might lose sight of who you are and what you truly want. Solitude removes those external influences, giving you the mental and emotional space to think clearly. It is during moments of quiet that you can hear your inner voice, the one that often gets drowned out by conversations, responsibilities, and digital distractions. This inner voice holds wisdom. It tells you what makes you happy, what hurts you, and what changes you need to make to grow. Without solitude, that voice remains unheard. And you may find yourself living a life that doesn't truly align with your soul. Being alone gives you time to explore your passions and interests without compromise. You can spend hours reading, creating, learning, or simply resting without having to meet anyone's expectation. This freedom helps you discover new parts of yourself, skills, ideas, and emotions that might have remained hidden otherwise. Solitude allows creativity to flourish, because it gives your mind space to wander without interruption. Many great thinkers, artists, and inventors throughout history found their inspiration in solitude, because being alone opened a direct path to their imagination and intuition. Solitude is also a form of healing. When you are always busy, you're surrounded by others, you rarely have time to process your emotions. Pain, stress, and confusion get buried under activity. But when you spend time alone, those feelings surface, allowing you to face them with honesty. You begin to understand your emotional patterns, your fears, and your strengths. This self-awareness leads to growth and emotional balance. Solitude gives you the strength to be present with your feelings instead of escaping from them. It teaches you that you can handle discomfort, that peace is not the absence of struggle, but the acceptance of yourself within it. Spending time alone also deepens your relationship with nature and the world around you. When you are by yourself, you start to notice details you might otherwise overlook. The sound of the wind, the rhythm of your heartbeat, the calm in the sunrise. These small moments remind you that life itself is enough. You begin to appreciate the simplicity of existence rather than constantly searching for excitement or approval. This awareness builds a quiet joy that doesn't depend on others. You realize that solitude doesn't isolate you. It connects you more deeply to life itself. Creating a life that feels fulfilling to you is one of the most important steps in learning how to be happy alone. It means building a daily existence that reflects your values, passions, and desires instead of trying to live according to what others expect. When you start shaping your life based on what truly matters to you, being alone stops feeling like a void and starts feeling like freedom. It gives you control over your time and energy, allowing you to fill your days with meaning and purpose. Fulfillment does not come from following trends or imitating someone else's path. It comes from living in alignment with your own truth. When you understand this, you stop chasing external approval and begin cultivating happiness from within. Living a fulfilling life alone begins with self-awareness. This, you must take the time to understand what brings you joy, what inspires you, and what gives your life meaning. Many people go through life trying to please others, sacrificing their own dreams to fit in or be accepted. But when you are alone, you have the chance to rediscover yourself without those influences. You can ask yourself what kind of life you want to live, what kind of person you want to become, and what experiences truly make you feel alive. This introspection leads you toward a lifestyle that feels authentic and satisfying. It might mean choosing simplicity over complexity, passion over security, or peace over constant activity. The beauty of being alone is that the choice is entirely yours. Once you know what fulfills you, it becomes easier to build habits and routines that support that sense of purpose. Small actions done consistently can transform your entire outlook on life. Whether it's exercising, learning something new, spending time in nature, or dedicating time to creative pursuits. These moments add richness to your day. Fulfillment grows when your actions reflect your heart's desires rather than external pressure. When you wake up each morning with something meaningful to look forward to, solitude becomes something you cherish instead of fear. Your days no longer feel empty because they are filled with intention and self-expression. Another key part of creating a fulfilling life alone is nurturing your passions. Everyone has unique interests or talents that, when explored, bring deep joy. It could be painting, cooking, gardening, writing, or helping others. When you engage in these activities, you enter a flow state, a sense of timeless focus and satisfaction. You lose yourself in the moment. And that feeling is incredibly healing. It reminds you that happiness is not something you find. It's something you create through doing what you love. Passions give your life color, meaning, and excitement. And they make solitude a space of creation rather than emptiness. Living a fulfilling life also means taking care of your physical and emotional well-being. Self-care is not selfish. It's a form of self-respect. Eating nourishing food, getting enough rest, moving your body, and practicing mindfulness are all ways to honor yourself. When you feel healthy and grounded, your mind becomes clearer and your emotional stability improves. You begin to feel grateful for the simple things that make life beautiful. A quiet morning, a good meal, a deep breath. These moments create a sense of inner abundance that no external relationship or material possession can replace. Detaching your worth from others. Validation is one of the most powerful lessons in learning how to be happy alone. Many people unknowingly build their happiness around the opinions and approval of others. They feel good when they are praised and feel worthless when they are criticized or ignored. This dependency creates a fragile sense of self that can easily be broken when relationships change or when others fail to give the attention they expect. True happiness, however, comes when you realize that your worth is not defined by anyone else. You were valuable the moment you were born, and no one's opinion can increase or decrease that truth. When you stop seeking validation and start trusting your own inner voice, you gain emotional freedom and peace that no one can take away from you. From childhood, many people are taught to measure their value through external achievements and reactions. Good grades, social approval, or the number of friends you have can start to feel like proof of your worth. But as you grow older, you begin to see how exhausting it is to constantly chase approval. You bend yourself to please others, say yes when you want to say no, and hide parts of yourself for fear of rejection. This pattern creates a life that looks good on the outside but feels empty on the inside when you finally decide to detach your worth from validation. It feels like breaking free from invisible chains. You start to make decisions based on what feels right for you rather than what earns applause. You stop trying to fit into molds created by others and start embracing your individuality. This shift begins when you become aware of how often you seek external reassurance. It might be checking your phone for likes, waiting for someone to compliment you, or feeling upset when people don't notice your effort. Once you recognize this pattern, you can gently start changing it by turning inward. Ask yourself, do I like who I am? Do my actions make me proud? When your self-esteem is based on your own standards and values, you stop being controlled by others' opinion. You start to realize that validation from others is temporary, but self-approval lasts a lifetime. It's a process of rebuilding your inner foundation so that your peace is no longer at the mercy of anyone else's behavior. Detaching from validation doesn't mean you stop caring about people or feedback. It simply means that your happiness and identity are not dependent on their approval. You learn to listen to feedback with an open mind, but filter it through your own wisdom. Not everyone's opinion deserves equal weight in your life. And not all criticism is truth. When you have a strong sense of self, you can appreciate praise without becoming addicted to it. And you can handle criticism without being destroyed by it. This balance gives you emotional strength and independence. You begin to stand tall in your truth, confident in who you are. Even when others don't understand or support you, as you detach your worth from validation, your relationships also become healthier. You no longer approach people out of fear of being alone or unworthy. You connect with them out of genuine care, not need. You stop expecting others to make you feel complete because you already feel whole. This change transforms your energy, making you more peaceful and authentic. People who truly value you will be drawn to that strength, while those who only wanted to use your need for validation will naturally drift away. Building inner peace and gratitude is the final and most beautiful step in learning how to be happy alone. When you have peace within yourself, you stop depending on the world to make you feel calm or joyful. Inner peace is not about having a life free of problems. It is about staying centered no matter what happens around you. Gratitude, on the other hand, is the practice of noticing and appreciating the good that already exists in your life. When these two qualities come together, they create a deep sense of happiness that does not fade with circumstances or loneliness. Being alone becomes a space of contentment rather than emptiness because your heart is already full. Inner peace starts with acceptance. You learn to accept life as it is, not as you wish it to be. You stop fighting every situation, every emotion, and every memory. Instead, you begin to flow with life rather than against it. When you are at peace with yourself, you no longer feel the need to control everything or seek constant excitement. You understand that quiet moments are valuable and that peace is not boredom, it is balanced. Inner peace grows when you let go of overthinking, forgive yourself for the past, and stop worrying about the future. The present moment becomes your home and you find comfort in simply being alive. Practicing gratitude strengthens this sense of peace. It shifts your focus from what you like to what you already have. Many people feel unhappy because they spend too much time thinking about what is missing in their lives. But when you begin to notice the little blessings, a warm meal, a kind word, a soft breeze, you start to see that happiness has always been around you. Gratitude doesn't just change your thoughts. It changes how you experience life. It fills ordinary moments with warmth and makes solitude feel rich instead of lonely. When you wake up and give thanks for another day, your heart opens to joy naturally. Being alone can actually help you build gratitude more deeply because you have the space to reflect without distractions. You can slow down and truly feel appreciation for simple things. You realize how much beauty exists in stillness. The sound of rain, the taste of your favorite food, the feeling of sunlight on your skin. These moments remind you that happiness is not something you chase. It's something you recognize. Gratitude becomes your quiet companion, turning solitude into a source of joy instead of sadness. Meditation, mindfulness, and breathing exercises are powerful ways to strengthen inner peace. They help you detach from negative thoughts and anchor yourself in the present moment. When your mind is calm, you begin to see things clearly. You stop reacting to every emotion and instead observe them with compassion. This awareness makes it easier to stay balanced, even when life feels uncertain. You begin to trust that everything will unfold as it should. This trust replaces anxiety with peace and loneliness with connection to yourself, to life, and to something greater than you. Gratitude and peace also protect you from emotional exhaustion. When you are grateful, even small moments of solitude feel nourishing rather than heavy. You no longer feel the constant need to escape or fill your time with noise. Instead, you enjoy your own presence, finding satisfaction in simplicity. You might start journaling your thoughts, spending time in nature, or just sitting quietly with a cup of tea, realizing how much comfort there is in your own company. These moments teach you that happiness does not require constant activity.